Information is free. Read it, write it, count it, makes a difference for me. It's all around, everywhere. Open your eyes so you can see. Can you make it? Can you make it? Can you make it? It's okay, do. I guess I can do it. Can you make it? Oh, can you make it? Can you make it? It's okay, do. There's nothing in this world that can keep you from your purpose. No, nothing. What you set your mind to do. Your mind to do. Availability is within your reach and stretch. No one to blame for your excuse. No one to blame but you. Independence a creed. The have meets the need. Your call is your reason. Appointed for a time. Like this lovely ride. Feel just like the right season. I'm gonna bring it. Nah, can you bring it? Can you bring it? It's okay, you. Yes, I can too. Bring it. Can you make it? Can you make it? It's okay, you. I guess I can too. There's nothing in this world that can keep you from your purpose. Achieving what you set your mind to do. Set your mind to do. Availability is within your reach and stretch. No one to blame for your excuse. No one to blame but you. I made it. I can make it. I can make it. Yeah, can make it. Yeah. Can you, yo, yes, you can. No one can stop you. No one can keep you from your purpose. You can make it. There's no reason you can't do it. I can make it. There is no reason and you can't do it. Availability is within your reach, and you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Yeah. I can do it. I can make I can make it. Ooh, you can make it.
Get up! 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 Yes, it hurts, but Jesus is the mender of broken hearts. Yes, it's confusing, but Jesus crooked places straight. Yes, a lot of time has gone by, but Jesus is Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Stop your weeping, stop your mourning, get out of your feelings. Jesus is here and he's calling you to get up. You gotta put your trust in his hand. And get up from that situation. Get up from that moment. Get up from that season, because you are not done. Yes, it died. Yes, it's stinking. Yes, it's lifeless. But there is one who has conquered that, hell, and the grave. And though he has delayed his coming for a season, he is now here and he just calls your name to get up. Cast down the spirit of the zombie. I ran over to the dictionary to look up zombie, and something quickened in my spirit. When I read the definition is a person given the semblance of life, but mute and willless. I'm talking to some people who have simply been functioning like a robot from day to day. this rejection left you for dead. We cast down imaginations, every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bring into captivity every thought to the disobedience of Christ. Can I submit to you today prophetically that the greater the problem, the greater the miracle? I said the greater the problem, the greater the miracle. The miracle that Jesus performed for Lazarus was the greatest miracle he had ever performed. It was something the world had never seen. Can I submit to you today that God's delay could be his divine setup for you to do something for and through you that the world has never seen? Do I have any faith walkers? Let me take a sidebar right here and encourage you to get rid of the people around you who are glorying in your weeping. Stop trying to make excuses for them. Stop trying to see it a different way. It is what it is. Holy Spirit has shown you several times, if I can't trust you to carry me when I'm weak and weeping, then I don't need you. I don't need you. That in order to get the miracle, there are some things that you've got to do. The first thing you got to do today is get out of the dark. I went through a season where I struggled with rejection and depression. One thing I learned about the enemy is that in order to keep you bound, he tries to keep you away from the light. He wants to keep you in the dark. What is light? The word of God. Positive people, positive influences, words of knowledge, words of wisdom. We have to remove that hard wall that we placed over our heart. We have to remove that hate. For some of us, the first thing we need to do is remove the stone. We got to remove that hate and we got to remove that fear. We got to get rid of all those stones that are preventing the light of God from entering our situation. Psalms 119:105 says, your word is a lamp for my feet and a light to my path. Can I submit to you today that before you can live again, you got to choose to remove the stones? Well, I came with the spirit of a mother on me today, and I'm commanding you to get out of that grave. You don't belong there. There's way too much left for you to do. You are not finished. The work is not complete. Get your behind out of that grave. Your story is not over. Get out of that grave. Get out of that grave. Get out of that grave. You become a product of your environment. Hanging out in the dark, surrounded by dead people. Get out of that grave. Grave. Jesus is on the scene now and is about to do his greatest work in your life. I need you to get out of that grave. Get out of that grave. It's not your time yet. You're not through. You are not done. I said get out of that grave. That is not your place. That's not where you're supposed to be right now. Somebody say get up out of that grave. In our culture, most times you can tell who a person is by what they wear. But my point is that there is a direct correlation between who you are and what you wear. That's why I got confused. I get confused at the girls who are half naked all over social media pages but get offended when someone comments a sexual comment. Oh, I'm sorry, I was misled by your uniform. Police wear what they wear so you can recognize them if you're in trouble. Nurses wear what they wear so you can recognize them if you're sick. What are your clothes telling people you do? In this scripture, Lazarus had gotten up from the grave, but he was still wearing the clothes that were symbolic of where he had been. Get out of those grave clothes. Get out of those. If we be honest, some of us have been out of the grave for a while, but we never took off the clothes. Some of us have been oppressed by that zombie spirit, but we break its hold today. The Bible says that there was linen wrapped around his hands and his feet, and a cloth was wrapped around his mouth. Can I tell you today that today is the last day that you will walk in that throw in the towel, it's over for me mentality? And you are no longer being held hostage. I declare that those fears, those failures, those heartbreaks that have held your praise hostage have to let you go today. I came for those of us who have been showing up every Sunday and Tuesday, singing in the choir, leading worship on the worship team, greeting at the door, but still wearing grave clothes. Grave clothes that are designed and purposed to mute your praise. You want to lift your hands, but it feels like there's weights keeping you down. You want to leap and dance, but it feels like there are weights holding you down. You want to shout, but it feels like there's a mute on your praise. Not after today. Can I tell you that one word from Jesus will set you free forever? Get out of those grave clothes. Get out of those grave clothes and open up your mouth and shout so the devil will know that you are alive. And Jesus, I told you it was going to fall apart. Jesus, I prayed for you to intervene. I ask you to help. I declare that every parent-child relationship that's been dead, we command it to get up and live. Every business idea that failed, we command it to get up and live. Every marriage that's on the rocks, we command it to get up and live. This is a hard one right here. This is a hard one right here. Because some of us tried to die when they died. Some of us chose to die when they died. We break that spirit today. Some of us got stuck where they died. Some of us got stuck where they died. And today is your resurrection. God does all things well. God does all things well. Some of y'all gotta give me those stories. They did it. It hurt. Nobody's denying that. They did and it hurt. Nobody's denying that, but you gotta bring those walls down, because those walls are preventing. God uses people to cause breakthrough in your life. And some of us have been turning away God-sent people because of what somebody else did to us 2 years ago. You gotta bring those stony hearts down. You gotta break it up, y'all. Get up! Get up! Get up, get up, get up, get up! Get up! Yes, it hurts, but Jesus is in the middle of a broken heart. Yes, it's confusing, but Jesus makes the crooked places straight. Yes, a lot of time has gone by, but Jesus is Alpha and Omega.
Hello, hello, hello. Get up, get up, get up. Because we have Miss Velina Hayes in the house. Get up. Hello, Kim.
Good evening. Hello, everybody.
How are you?
Wonderful.
Great. I am just as wonderful too, because we have Miss Velina Hayes in the house. Hello, Miss Velina. How are you, my dear?
Hey, Shauna. I'm good. How are you? Hi, Ontario.
Hello, how are you? Welcome.
I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming to the sister chat and sitting on the couch with us and having a conversation. And the conversation of we need to get out of our grave clothes and just do it and be about it. How you feel about that?
I feel great. That was really great and inspiring to listen to. I need it right on time.
I agree. Since we started This is the Sister Chat, usually it never fails. I always say nothing falls in our lap by accident. And it just so happened that, this fell in my inbox, and I said, this will be perfect because somebody is where we used to be, and we need to tell them, get up. We need to inspire them to move forward and let them know that they can move forward. And we let them know we show how we dress, and we show how we dress by our uniforms. And the uniform that you currently wear is multiple uniforms. You're a songstress and a radio host. You also have Vibing with Velina Live.
Yeah,
and
too much.
You even turn around with Miss Paparazzi. Like,
yeah,
did I
wear
it all? Did I name it all?
You did.
And that just lets you know, my grandma said a famous statement. She said, you need to treat your life like holes in a belt. And I was like, holes in a belt? And she said, yeah, because you never know when you're going to need to plug into the hole. Wow. And the holes is for everything that you do in your life. You never know what size you might need. You might need to put on the size that's for your song. You may need to come back and be Velina vibing, or you may be having the sister chat. You never know where your hole is needed. So you just keep lining them up. And you just put the belt up. Belts
That's an awesome word.
Yeah, you don't always have to use a belt for a beating. So I guess that was her way of, I don't have to beat you anymore. Just use the belt now and just line your life up. I done beat you to death now. So now line up.
It was used on me too. I know what it is.
Yes, Lord. Kim, what about you and belts?
Well, see, I was one of those kids. I didn't get a lot of beatings, right? Because all my mom had to do was look at me, and I was like, okay. So I was that one, and when it was time for that I always ran. I was a runner, and I would lock myself in the bathroom or the room,
Yes.
And I would just get to the point where my mom would get to the point, she's like, you know what, you already done punished yourself because you've been in the bathroom for 2 hours doing what?
Wow.
So I was
See, I got spanked later as a teenager because of my mouth. Talk like kind of trying to, I don't want to say back talking, but always trying to explain. She's telling me to shut up and I keep talking. So I got spanked later, not from probably till about 13. I was great. But at that age 13, I just thought I knew everything.
well, that's when it moved from the belts to the, it was like,
Yeah.
oh, you being smart. Like, oh, my bad. Like, that's not what I was saying though. Like that.
Well, honey. So I was one of those generation kids. So I lived with mommy, daddy, and grandma.
Ooh.
Yeah. So my little sister never had to get the beatings because I was from Missouri. You had to show me. So when I got the eye, no, all the other kids knew if you got the eye, don't move, don't do it. But not me. I was always the clown. You do the eye, I did the eye back.
Oh.
Everybody would do the same what you just did. Oh, did you just do that? I would laugh. She'd be like, and my grandma used to hold her hand like this because, you know, she was crip, you know, arthritis. And when she would clap, she would go like this. And when she would tell you, you know, shut your mouth, she would do like that. So she would do that to me. And one day I decided I wanted to do what the kids did in class. So she did like this. And I said,
oh,
oh, you called your grandmom out on the fair one.
Oh, I called out on the fair one from the 12th pew while she sat on the choir stand. And she did that rock. That's why sometimes when I rock, I laugh because I feel her coming out of me. She's like, So she wouldn't do nothing. I would get in the car. And, you know, because I'm thinking, you know, I'm playing with her. She looking at me like, okay, you playing just a little bit too much. So we got home. She still ain't said nothing to me. Almost time to go to bed. She still ain't said nothing to me. But when I went to get ready to go to the bathroom to pull my leg up, she was right there. She said, so what did you do in church today? I was like, Grammy. She's like, yeah, oh, now you want to Grammy me. Now you want to talk to me. She was going to wait until I exposed myself. Then she was going to get me. She wasn't going to wait to expose me. She wanted me to expose myself. And oftentimes, I learned that lesson in life, that if you wait long enough and you be quiet long enough, people will expose themselves to you, or a situation will expose itself. You don't need to do anything. Right. So yeah, but yeah, I used to get, oh God, but like you, I really didn't get beatings or get it until I became defensive and felt like like you said, I need to explain myself on why I was doing it or why I had to talk. And she was like, there's no justification. It's just like what it is. And it's funny because I do that today with my kids. I'm like, I don't care what you say. I mean, you can have a reason for why you did it. And my pastor would say, I know y'all like, Dad, she brought her pastor up again. He would say, I don't need an excuse. The excuse doesn't matter because that's what you give me, an excuse. So I was like, but all right, that's enough there, I think.
Well, I was going to say something because we automatically jumped into like being disciplined with belt. Started talking about your experience and what your grandmom told you. But what I thought about just now was that every time I try to buy a belt, I always get the wrong size.
Oh.
And even if I try it on, there may not be enough holes, or it may not fit the way that it's supposed to fit.
You better preach this thing.
But it's me picking up something that I think I need to look a certain way, but then it's really not that thing that's supposed to go with that particular look or that attire. So I don't have a lot of belts. Most of my clothes I wear beltless.
Me too.
For that reason. And a part of that is because of my frame. Not every belt is built for your frame.
Yeah, I have to create my own holes sometime.
with a knife or some scissors or a needle, and you.
How many times in your life? And how many times in your life have you had a belt situation? Just like you said, you picked up something that just wasn't for you, and you went to creating, and you went to holding, and it just was not your frame. That that right there is a whole episode right there. What do you know your belt size?
And you know how when you go to the store, they have like SM, ML, then like LXL. But I'm like, I'm more like a medium large, but I don't normally see medium larges. So but I can buy a belt, but you don't make this product for me. You know what I mean? And it's difficult sometimes when you're trying to get what you need, and what you need is not accessible.
What'd you say to that, Velina?
No, she's right. I mean, there's never like an in between. It's never like an in between. It's just one or the other.
That's it. That's it.
I really don't know the belt themselves.
You try to fit into what someone else has crafted.
Yeah.
Because we haven't taken the time out to learn how to create it for ourselves.
Or better yet, it wasn't even about we didn't know to create it ourselves. There is a belt our size, but we were just not patient enough to go through it and look for it. Or better yet, sometimes we don't even look for it because it's right there.
Not all the time.
Some of them are customly made just for us.
But maybe we go to the wrong places.
Boom, boom. Girl. Again, what size is your belt? You didn't change it. So wait a minute. I'm gonna do it like this. How about back to us? Back to us. Ooh, I had to get off that belt because I started feeling a sting on my legs. I felt the sting, and then I wonder why my pants still was falling down. Ooh. When you got the wrong mate trying to mate up with you. Oh, did I say that?
Ugh.
Forcing it to try to work.
You're going to make it fit.
Yeah, you poke a hole and it just don't work.
In it.
And then the hole rips the belt.
Yes.
Or better yet, you made it so long now, it's all the way over here. We got to loop the loop.
Yeah, you're looking crazy.
Rubber band and loop, then fold it under, make it bend, make it pretty, make it a bow with a buckle. Hot, what? You're a hot mess.
Yes.
Can I say it?
Hot mess.
Thought I was cute, turning my belt to the side. Gonna make that thing fit.
You know what I started doing, because I honestly, like, this is a real, and it's so weird that we're talking about belts, but I actually just started using scarves because I knew that I could manipulate the scarf into what I needed it to be to make it fit me without having to jump through all the hoops.
I've seen people do it.
So now I'm going to turn it around. How many things have we manipulated in our lives to make it look right, to fit right, to sit right, to do it right?
Too many.
And when you think about how you present or you do things in life, it kind of makes you stop and sit down and say, do I do that when it comes to my life? I manipulate a situation. Like I recall manipulating a situation, and then because it didn't work in my favor, I felt like I was burnt and I was hurt. Well, you brought it on yourself. You manipulated the situation to make it fit. And when the belt didn't fit and stay hooked onto you, you had a hissy fit.
Yep. Been there, done that.
Whew, can I take these shoes off? Because they say when it's tight, it's right. My shoes is kind of tight right now.
I feel like we about to go on a ride today.
We are going to go on a ride because it's so much that's going on, and Velina is here to tell about it because when you think about everything that's going on today, even though I know that wasn't why you created that song, but you created the song Back to Us. And it's so fitting right now today. And you wrote that last year. At the end of the year, you dropped that song. When did you write the song?
Around this time. Around this time. It was definitely around this time.
It's around this time last year.
It was around this time. Not this year, last year, but around the same time, yeah.
And that's when you wrote Back to Us. But when you wrote Back to Us, I know you had a meaning for it at that time, but did you have any idea that it was giving birth to a situation that would be needed for quarantine? Because you have to look at it and you have to sit there and say, you know what? It's time for us to get back to us.
I absolutely had no idea in my wildest dreams that we would be facing things like this.
And that your song would be so fitting. But the title itself unpacks so much more than what the song was about.
Absolutely.
So tell us about the song Back to Us that happens to be on all the social medias.
Yes, all the digital platforms, Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, CD Baby. It's all over the place. Glory be to God, it's all over the place.
Well, I'm gonna bring you to the front so you can tell everybody about your baby. Tell everybody about your baby Back to Us.
So Back to Us, a lot of the music that I write is based on personal experience. What that song actually entails is me being in a relationship and wanting things to go back to the way they were. It wasn't like a complete breakup, or things were getting very challenging, and I saw the end coming. So I wrote about me wanting to get back to that place where we were happy, the communication was good. When we were headed down a more, I say, a lighter, a better way. Everything was nice, not perfect, but and also me stressing the fact that I wanted more out of the relationship. A lot of times when we're in relationships, especially women, we want more, and sometimes the guys may want more, but they're not very vocal about it. So in that song, I was very vocal about the fact that I wanted to not only get back to when we were happy and I saw a future, but I wanted to build on that and make it I should say official, and stressing the fact of how much I loved that person at that time. But it was based on personal experience. But that's what that song's about. Okay. About getting back to the happy place. I'm sure we've all been there at least once or twice.
And I really believe that we're there now because I know as for me, I was watching my mom, and it's like now that I've kind of let the strings go, it's like she got to run outside. She just got to run outside. Now she got to go to the store for herself, or she got to go to the mailbox. It's like she wants things to be so back to normal till she really don't, she don't get it. I gave her a mask today, and I said this will go with, what you have for church. And she looked at me and she was like, you could see she was like, this is the new norm. Like I went and got all my masks today. And as I was picking out the patterns, I was like, okay, I didn't want to do anything solid, but I had to think about something that was going to be something that I could encourage not only myself, but when somebody else see me, they would be encouraged too. And one of them was this one. I had a picture of an emoji.
Oh, that's cute.
So this is my mask, and my little cousin Caitlin, she made it for me.
Oh my gosh, that's really cute.
And I was like, so anybody that comes and see me, I can always go like this to let them know it's all right. Just smile. Or I'll do this and say, I know you're crying, but smile. But even when you see me, it's the new norm, but it doesn't feel so bad, if that makes sense. It's like I'm manipulating the situation.
Yeah. Yeah. When we first were, I guess I used the word mandated to wear these masks, even though I understood why. It's a heck of an adjustment. So I had to make sure that I got a mask that was blinged out, that kind of showed my personality to make it a little bit more fun. So that's what I did, because I mean, nobody wants to wear the mask. It's irritating. I've even had some spells where I felt dizzy in the store, especially if they don't have good ventilation.
Yes.
This is it's something. I mean, it's disheartening at times, but like you said, I try to have a fun mask. I put my name on it. I put, Diva on it. Just try to make it a little bit better to soften the blow a little bit.
Right.
But it's difficult. My mom was actually just I don't want to use the word complaining, but describing how she felt because she has asthma. And she went to a doctor's appointment, and she said she felt like she really couldn't breathe because asthma, and then you have something covering you.
Yep.
And but she said, I know we have to do this. And I mean, it hurts me to know that she's so uncomfortable. And we have to go through this. And I'm just, just like you and everyone else, I'm standing in agreement, and I'm just praying, knowing that this too shall pass. We just got to hang in there.
We do. So before we go any further, I need to make a couple of disclaimers. So the disclaimer is this. I'll start with me first.
Uh-oh.
The disclaimer is my opinion, is my truth, but it doesn't have to be yours. It's not your fact and it's not your truth. It's just my statement, my opinion. That's my disclaimer. So, whatever I say, this is how I feel. But it doesn't have to mean that you have to be in agreement. You don't have to feel the same as I do. The other disclaimer is whenever you see this happening with Kim, that means she got something to say and she about to blow up. So we're going to let her say it. Go ahead, Kim.
Okay, so there were a few things that you two lovely ladies just put out into the atmosphere.
Uh-oh.
And the one was just the title, Getting Back to Us. I think a lot of times in every relationship, be it a romantic relationship, be it familial, be it work relationship, whatever it is, when you start going through those rough patches, you have to really reevaluate yourself and reevaluate your why. Why did we come together? What was the purpose of this relationship existing? What did we feel for the romantic? What did we feel in the beginning when we decided that we said yes to doing life together? If it was as a courtship, a marriage, or whatever the case is. With a family or family member, it's whenever they do things that are outside of the norm that you don't understand, it's understanding that even though there may be some friction there, you always have the hope of coming back to where you were or knowing what that relationship is. If it's a mother to a child, sibling to sibling, whatever it is, we're always challenged to get back to respecting and recognizing that real love that's there in the family. So that was the one thing. The second thing was, and this is what I wrote out when we start talking about the mask issue, that a lot of times, either figuratively or literally, when we wear masks, we have to learn how to breathe through the change of wearing those masks. So there's difficulty. Okay, so say if my personality is one way, and I'm talking pre-COVID-19. If my personality is one way, but then I decide because now I'm in your company or I'm getting to see how you are, I downplay myself and I cover up who I am. I'm not allowing myself to breathe and flow in who God created for me to be. And a lot of times what we do as women and as people, period, we pull back, we put on this mask in order to fit into this environment that's not conducive for our breathing. And when you breathe, there's life that comes into you when you breathe. So a lot of times, you know, and fast forwarding up to where we are now, I have about 6 different masks.
Yeah, turn it
with different colors, styles, whatever the case is. Because I'm like, okay, if I gotta wear this every day, they gotta match. We try to we put ourselves in position to adjust to what the new change or the new normal is. And there will be difficulty in transitioning. No transition is easy.
No.
Transitions are, when you think about administratively or in corporate, what happens when things start changing?
Chaos.
Rumbling. It's uncomfortable. Nobody really knows. In our world today, every person in this world is feeling that same sentiment. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know how long, where, why, how, what if. None of us know. So there's so much uncertainty in this shift to being in a new normal.
It is.
What I also put was normalcy always denotes change.
It does.
In our lives, it's constant change. And people have to adapt to whatever change or decisions you decide to make in your life. And you adapt to that new norm.
Yeah.
There's so much discomfort when those shifts start to happen. And I think that's where we are as a people. That's where we are as a society. That's where we are in relationships. Like everybody is kind of like on this wave. We're all in this ocean together and we're all walking out from the sand. And we see these waves, and when a wave hits, we all go, whoa, and we try to get our footing straight again, and we try to establish, you know, our purpose for being there. You got to readjust, and you grab onto people, and you hold on to people, and some people fall, and so it's just so much that's wrapped up in everything that you guys just said. And back to Velina's song, Back to Us, I often think that this whole season is God's way of getting us back to him so that we can reassess where we are, what we're doing in our lives, reassess our whys, reactivate our whys, and then move in the power. Because now we can look back and be like, whoa, 150,000 people died, and I'm still here.
Yeah.
It didn't have to be me still standing. So what didn't I do that I should have done? So let me start working on that. Let me get back to us, God. Let me get back to what I clearly, and some things he clearly shows us in our dreams and in our visions and those things that we see, and we're like, whoo, yeah, I got to do that. But then we sit on it. You know what I mean? And this time of activation, and it's uncomfortable push to get back to us so you can get back to you and really function in how we're supposed to be functioning in humanity. So I know I said a lot.
But you said a lot, but you said exactly, you like kind of brought together exactly what we're saying here and what we actually dealing with on a one-on-one daily basis. Because when you sit there and you break it down to actually what's going on per house is exactly what you're really stressing out. But you know what, one thing you didn't say, You know who really wasn't really, they was affected, but I don't think they was affected as much as we were. We was more concerned about them, and they was looking at us like, what with the kids.
I see it from a different perspective.
All the kids that I've encountered was like, I was like, are you okay with this? No, I ain't okay, but I got it. I was like, okay. How you gonna handle this? Oh,
I mean, a lot of, in my opinion, and you encounter different children, but
right.
The children that I encountered, they were torn up because they're social beings, a lot of kids, and they couldn't be with their friends. They couldn't see their grandparents. Some kids were separated from their mothers because they're, frontline workers, and the mothers couldn't come home because they didn't want to bring the germs home. So, the ones that I've encountered, I think kids adjust better than us. I'll say that. But they were heartbroken, a lot of the kids. And when it was a green light for them to go outside and play, they're out all day now. They're so happy to be with their friends. And one guy, his granddaughter is very young, but she's about 4, but she was used to being with her grandpa, and he couldn't see her during the quarantine because he had health issues. And he made me cry. He was used to seeing his baby like at least twice a week, and he could not see her. And this little girl was torn up, and she was only 4 years old.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I was done.
I was going to say that our young people, the majority of them, have difficulty in expressing themselves and expressing their truth. And a part of that is them being not having to be as interpersonal because a lot is here. And so you may ask a question in person and say, how are you with this? They be like, I'm good. When they have thoughts, they sit up in their rooms, they're here, and they don't understand, just like we don't understand, they don't understand. And we're in a time where they're looking to us for answers. And we can't give them answers because we don't know either. And so a lot of times when you talk to young people and they give you that one word answer, that's because in that moment they don't feel like talking, and they're going to give you just enough for them not to have to give you or you forcing them to really expound on how they really feel, because they're heavy. The majority of those people that were out there causing riot were our young people.
Yeah, they were.
You understand what I'm saying? When I have a niece that she's about to turn 18. She's been in quarantine since March. She's just this month starting, the end of this is July, the end of June, she's just now starting to get out. Now she's been on Instagram with her friends all day, every day in their chats, and they talk amongst themselves. But when I asked her how she was feeling, and it's only because of the relationship that we have, she was like, I'm angry.
Oh.
And I want to do something, but I don't know what to do. They're amongst themselves trying to figure this thing out. So we're obligated to okay, so you said you don't care. Why don't you care? We have to provoke more conversation to get them to really open up. Because if we feeling it, baby, they are feeling it just as much.
Well, I believe that some of them are, like you said, some of them are, but majority of the ones that I actually was encountered, I was surprised at how they reacted because, as you said, they were already into this. So because they was already into this, they really didn't miss that because they was already doing that. So for them, that transition, for some of them that I spoke with, some of the young ladies and guys that I spoke with, it was a transition. It was different. And I asked them, I said, okay, well, y'all ready to go back to school? They're like, no, we actually can stay just like this. I don't have no problem with that. I didn't do anything while I was there anyway. So for some of them, the adjustment was just a movement. It was just a shift. But then, yes, there were some other ones that had the shift that you expressed of being angry, feeling like they need to do something, or they actually believed that they needed to follow what everybody else was doing and started breaking stuff and burning stuff. So it depends on who you encountered and when you encountered them. But I can't categorize all of them and say they all were angry. Because
no, that's not what I was saying. What I meant was most times, because I work with young people from kindergarten to 12th grade, and the millennial generation and generation, I think they call them Generation Y, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know.
They have
Generation X. I think we're Generation
X. I think they're Y.
Yeah, I think they are wise.
And so even those tags are crazy, but that's a whole nother conversation. But most of them, unless you can sit down and give them a good half hour where you can like provoke conversation, you won't get their truth. And there, listen, Shauna, listen for a second. What I'm saying is everybody in this world has been affected by everything that's going on. They've had thoughts. It's provoked them mentally, emotionally, and spiritually in some way, shape, or form.
I'll agree with that. But as I was stating, by me being a youth advocate, when we had our youth meeting and I was with those young people and they actually literally had a conversation, some of them were not affected by it. They really was like, okay, we just can't go out. I'm mad that I can't do what I want to do. But other than that, it's not really affecting me. But then, yes, there were some that could not believe. And I think a lot of them was angry because of how we as adults were acting. I did see that. My niece is one of them. And she's very vocal, very, very vocal. She don't have a problem telling you, look, you stink, it stink, we stink. She'll put it out there just like that. She'll just say stink. But when
my thing apart.
Huh?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, what did you say?
I was just going to say, apart from not being able to go out, what about the fact to me that these kids were seeing people dying and not knowing if one of their family members will be next? I mean, to me, I think everybody on this planet should have been affected about that, because whether they're able to stay home and be on Instagram and play video games, that's something very separate from not knowing if your mom's going to go out and you're going to find out she has COVID and she's going to die in 10 days. I think that should have scared everybody. And if that didn't scare them, then something may be wrong.
But you got to also
something has to be wrong.
But you also got to remember, everybody deals with things differently. They are affected.
Yeah, they probably just weren't vocal. Right. They just probably weren't vocal about it.
They're affected and they deal with it different.
Right, but
they deal with it.
Even still, for them to say no, they wasn't. I can't label it. I can't label it and say that no, they wasn't.
I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't buy it at all.
No, but I'm not.
People are dropping like flies. I mean, every day we'd hear 700 people, and to me, I'm like you said, I can't speak for them, and you can only go off of what they said.
Right.
But I just don't believe anybody with a human heart could see all these people dying and not knowing if their family could be next and just be totally unaffected and get on a video game and say everything's all good. I just can't see it.
Their way of coping, like Shauna said, like when you were talking to the young people you were talking to, yes, they're used to this because that's just the reality that they live in, social media, and they're seeing stuff, and you can say that they're desensitized. However, their desensitization varies based on their personal experience. And when you see these things going on and nobody knows what's really happening, and the teachers are the schools are communicating to them, we might go back to school, we might not, but if we go back to school, this is how it's going to be, 6 feet apart, partial days, and just everybody's trying to figure it out. And what I really wanted to point on is their coping method of not really dealing with emotions is social media and going to digital devices. That is their normal go-to of coping. So if their norm is there, yeah, I get it totally. But sometimes when you shut down that phone and you pick up the news, or you go to have a conversation with somebody, or you turn on BET now and BET is just blasting all of this stuff instead of just regular television shows, you're seeing news, you're seeing, rioting and this person dying, and the fight against police and da 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 da. And they're like, well, my friends, and what's going to happen to my friends if we go out and we try to? There's a lot that comes with that, and there's going to take some time to really get to the heart of how they really feel, and that is going to be dealt with when they go back to school and the counselors start getting involved, because school is going to be different. Socializing is going to be different. Yeah. And I guarantee you, each one of those children are going to have a moment when they sit down with a counselor and they're going to bear their truth, or with that adult, or with their friend, or with whomever it is. And my thing is, like, young people are pre-adults. And if you think about experiences, like I'll use me for example, when we had the move situation back in the late 80s, right? I was on my back step. I saw a helicopter hovering. I was like, Mommy, it's a helicopter just sitting there and it's loud. Then I was like, Mommy, the helicopter just dropped a pocketbook, because the bomb had a handle and it was squared and they dropped a pocketbook. Then it was like, boom, and everything shook. I'm 45 years old and I still remember to this day that experience. I learned about those people. I learned about what was going on. I was angry. Why did they do that to those people? They killed those people. And I was a young person. Luckily, my mom sat me down and talked to me because I saw it. Mm-hmm. Some people saw it on television, but I saw it in person. So there's always, and we can't negate the fact that children are sponges, and every experience that they go through, those things resonate with them. They may not tell you.
But just a moment, because one of our viewers had a very, very good point. And her point was, if it doesn't hit home with them, it doesn't really affect them. And I agree. I agree, because like you said, some of them are not looking at the news because they don't want to see it. Because you got to remember, they're probably dealing with this according to how they deal with everyday life.
Yep.
With children, things are always changing. Rules are always changing. And sometimes when rules always change with them, they usually just go with the flow. Not saying that some of them express it. Some of them go like this with it. Some of them, like she said, some of them like, if it doesn't affect me, oh well. And how many oftentimes do we find that happens where somebody will say, well, it ain't me, so they're not affected by it. And just because 3,000 bodies died, they still not affected by it. But like you said, the minute it hit home, then it's like, this is real.
Well, adults are like that too, sadly.
But
sadly, they are. Yeah.
But she also said, that was Nadina. I believe that's Nadina.
Yeah, that's my friend Nadine Edwards. Yes. Hi, Nadine.
Yes. Thank you, Nadine. And she also said that their family life, like you said, Kim, is because she sat down and discussed with them. But it's some people and some children are still not getting that discussion.
So what's going to happen is, and I'm going to tell y'all, this is what happens. Being an educator and being around young people, when they go back, if they were in school and this stuff happened, just like when Trump went into office, there was conversation about that in the schools, even in elementary school. And they were voicing their opinions. They were voicing their fears because they heard these conversations. They didn't know what to expect. When they go back to school and those teachers sit down with them and those people working with them sit down with them, that stuff is going to start coming out. Trust me when I tell you. I saw it all day, every day, especially when there's a major social change or uproar or question. You know what I mean? That the adults are showing them.
Well, absolutely. And not to be morbid, but there's a lot of young teenagers that have committed suicide and the parents knew nothing because the kids were able to mask their emotions,
Yes.
act normal,
Yes.
kind of like do the robotic thing. And the parents come home and find their kids, dead, and they don't even know why. They don't know why they never cried. They never had mood swings as far as what they can see, because the parent is busy being a parent, going to work, doing the normal routine, and not to say deliberately not taking the time to have a conversation, but it happens. And then sometimes it is too late.
And the kids learn how to wear masks.
Of course.
They do.
And that's the point I'm trying to drive home.
And
they learn. They learn.
We've always said that, our children come in like one way. They're free. They're empty. But it depends on the mirror that they're being mirrored off of, reflects on how they're going to be. Also, Nadina said, she said, we have to have conversation with our kids
now
before
they
enter the school environment.
Right. And then
this is perfect time. Like you're quarantined.
And then Reese Hall said that we need to do the same thing. And she also mentioned
she was saying before they enter the school, that they need to we need to have conversations with them.
And no matter what their age is. And it's funny that she mentioned age, because a lot of times we don't talk to our children because of age, because we think, oh, they're not going to understand. Oh, no, they don't need to know this, not right now. But yeah, they do need to know this right now. I remember
trust me, more times than not, they already know anyway.
Exactly. I remember trying to have the birds and the bees conversation, and I was told, we're not going to do that, are we? And I was like, what you mean we're not going to do that, are we? It's like, we already had this conversation. I was like, I didn't sign off on this. What you mean we had this conversation? Also, Nadina, you know what, Nadina? I'm gonna either have to give you the phone number so you can call in and join in on this conversation. Yeah. You and Sarita.
Can I read hers? It says students have been reaching out to me about their feelings of depression. One student messaged me and asked me if the world was coming to an end. That's what I'm talking about. And they have certain people. They have certain people that they feel comfortable with opening up to, asking these questions, baby. And
Nadine, my friend Nadine is a teacher, so they do feel very comfortable. Yeah, at my daughter's school. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So a lot of times, what the parents don't know is that the children hold back, or whatever their purposes are, however their home structure is set up. But then they find, just like us, we find friends, we find people we feel comfortable with, people who show us love. So the moment you show a child love consistently, they're gonna open up to you. They're gonna
absolutely.
Talk to you. And you're gonna. That's why I was saying, like, when they get, if the parents aren't talking to them now, best believe they're going to go to school, and these conversations are going to be had because they're.
Ooh, was that me? Wait a minute, hold on, keep talking. Okay, we back.
Uh-oh.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
So no more reverb. Okay, yeah. So those conversations are going to be had, but I think if we can I think it would be awesome to set up a forum with our young people where they can send questions, where they can share, because you know what I mean? Like, if they're looking at their peers and their peers like, I don't even know what's going on. I think they said. But if they can have adults that they trust, or if there's a forum of their peers that they can come on and throw out like random questions to them just to get some type of an answer or something, that's healthy. And that's on our road to healing. Because I think right now, we all need healing on so many levels.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, this pandemic has affected me in so many ways. I just pray and try to keep it moving, because if you think about it, it gets overwhelming.
It does.
So, Velina, you as an artist, how has it affected your work or your life as an artist?
I mean, as an artist, to be honest, it took it to a complete stop. I had some pretty big. I had many shows that were coming up. So I'm gonna say about 8 shows from the time that we shut down until now. And they had tried to reschedule all the way up until May, and then they just started saying it's not going to happen. I also had a really big opportunity. I don't want to mention it because I trust God and believe God that He's going to give me and restore that opportunity. But it was pretty big. And so that is at a halt because everything in New York is shut down right now. But I had a big opportunity that was supposed to take place in New York City, and I didn't get that. So I have missed out on thousands of dollars that could have obviously helped my household and things like that. But you know, I have to tap into the power that I have through Jesus Christ and just be thankful and know that He is my provider. I look to God for everything. And if I didn't have that relationship with God and that faith in God, I'm sure I would have fell apart like some people already have. But I take it day by day. And, the word never says that we're not going to see trouble, but He says that He's not going to leave us and He'll never forsake us. So that's what I hold on to. I know that this too shall pass, and He never brings you somewhere that He can't bring you out of. So I just hold on to hope, but it has been very trying. Even my mother, I didn't see her for 2 months at first because my mother has health issues, and I didn't want to, God forbid, spread anything to her. But I think it was by May, around maybe at the end of April, I just couldn't take it anymore. So I went over to her house with a mask, and we broke down. I mean, I really missed my mother, and sadly, my grandfather was in a nursing home, and the last time we saw him was February 29th. Unfortunately, because he was in a nursing home, we were not able to visit him. And so they took it upon themselves to neglect him. He died of dehydration and malnutrition. So we lost him April 19th. And that was the hardest part of this, because had we been able to visit him, he would still be here, because we used to go and visit him quite often. My grandmother visited him every day. She made sure he ate and everything like that. But they dropped the ball on him, and they killed him. So we lost my grandfather in the midst of all of this. So it's rough. It's been rough. When we went to bury him, we couldn't even get out the car. We didn't get to see his body. We just got to touch the casket, and we prayed and we sang songs, but we did not bring him home the way that I thought that would have happened. And like I said, had this situation not happened, he would still be here. So it's been tough. It's been very tough. But all I can say is, but God, without God, I don't know how we would have gotten through this. My mother and all of us were still struggling with it. It's still very fresh. We just lost him. And then Father's Day just came, and usually we would be with him on Father's Day. So it's been exceptionally rough.
Yeah.
Exceptionally rough.
I remember because we had to reschedule you, because we had you scheduled to come on the show. And that's when you had told me about
I was emotionally, I'm not gonna lie, God knows what we go through here on earth, and He understands. But I was falling apart for a while. But I had to praise Him anyway and praise my way through it, pray my way through it. I had to pray more often. I mean, I pray every day and every night, but I had to intensify my prayer life and just motivate myself that way. Wake up with a praise in my mouth, no matter what's going on, because God still has a purpose for me, because He woke me up. My daughter, I have one daughter. She's 19. We share our feelings. We've been going through it together, but I know that there's a purpose, because we're here. We're both here. My mother's still here. My father's still here. My grandmother is still here in spite of losing her husband. I mean, they were together 63 years.
Woo,
so, I mean, so she's going through it, but we're still here by the glory of God, by the power that we have in us through Him. So the only thing I can say to people, a lot of people have experienced losses. Some have not, but we have to give it to God. We have to find our strength in Him, because even myself, I mean, we could help our kids and help other people just so much, but God is the author and finisher of our faith in this household.
That's right. That's right. And you know, it's funny that you say that, because I remember as I pray, and I think some of y'all see my posts. My post, it says, you know, I pray for everybody. You know, I pray for my family and my friends. I even pray for people that don't like me and people that has hurt me. And then
Absolutely.
I pray for those people's circles and their circles. And by the time we finish with everybody's circles, I believe the world should be covered. And I ask the Lord to just lay hands on everyone per their situation, whatever their situation may be. Because, you know, the Bible does say, pray for your enemies as well.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the big challenges, but we're supposed to do that.
Okay? But the biggest conviction is when you find out that the person that you're praying for, as you called a friend, is really your enemy, and your enemy is really your friend. But when you pray for both of them, they're both covered, and you're just covered because of the fact that I remember was told to me that, you know, you're in the middle, right? And God is right here. So if anybody tries to touch you or get to you, that means they got to get saved. Because anybody that touches him instantly becomes saved. So therefore, you trying to get me, and you're going to end up getting saved. So I always tell everybody all the time, come get me, come on, because you're going to get saved in the process. Yeah, my pastor told me that.
Amen to that.
My pastor told me that.
I like that.
Yeah, I know, y'all. Y'all be like, here she go with her pastor. I love my pastor. What can I say?
That's a beautiful relationship. That's a beautiful relationship.
You know, it's funny because me and my pastor had almost like a mother. I'm like not a mother, like a how could I say it? Like almost like the prodigal son. You know, they have that relationship, that love, that love relationship with that child that's always defiant. But I wasn't defined. I wasn't defined it. I just needed to be defined. Because where I was, it wasn't that I didn't know what I was having, didn't know what I didn't do. It wasn't as I wasn't educated to know, but I just needed to be defined and be fine-tuned and get things in place and get my character and my attitude in place. And once I learned all of that, because if he told me that at the beginning, I would have been defiant then. But as a result of me going through life and being cut away and put back in the oven and brought back out and shined up and then back in the oven again to come back out to think it was good and find out that I was right back in, to now I'm still not a finished product, but now I understand what he was trying to say. And you know, right now it may be that some children and even some adults, they don't know how to deal with it, so they don't deal with it, so they just make it their new norm and keep moving. But I've been running into a lot of children that already act like that prior to COVID. Or as my cousin said this morning, I found it so funny. She said, don't come up in my business acting all crazy, you know, like BC. And everybody like BC, she before COVID. I was like, wow, that's cute. So I'm still in that.
That's funny. That's funny.
But BC, this is how they handle the problem. So now, after C, they're still going to handle their problems until they come and refine or find someone that's going to be like Kim said, going to shake them up and make that one little prick that's going to cause them to just open up and say, look, da 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 da. It may just be because you know it took for my sister to get stuck in the parking lot because they were looting. And she couldn't get out because they barricaded the plaza.
Oh my God.
You couldn't get in, you couldn't get out, so they were trying to get the people that were looting. So my sister was like, do y'all see this going on? So my niece said, no, give me the phone, or however she got the phone. I don't know how my niece got the phone. But my niece became what her aunt does very well, a newscaster. So she's zooming in and she's showing, and she's like, right now, they are not looting. They are being opportunists. And at that moment, I realized I didn't know my niece at all. Because the way she was projecting what was going on and her attitude to how she saw it, you know, she was like, I see this is happening, but I must say, I am very disappointed. And I was like, Nayabo? You know, I was really shocked to hear how she reacted to what she saw. But at the same time, I was getting dressed. And I was like, oh no, I'm getting my sister out that more. I don't know how to, what they know. They don't know. They know. I was like, look, go to the back. Go all the way to the back and to the side. I know that side ain't blocked. They ain't know to block that side. And then go all the way around and come out. I'm coming to get you. And she's like, well, if I can't get out, how you going to get in to get me out? I'm like, I'm coming to get my sister. But that was because that's how I am. BC and after C. BC and AC. But yeah, you know.
Oh my God.
But it was just I just seen a lot of triumph too with children. I seen the triumph of, you know what, you did this is going on. I'm not going to give in to what's going on. Because of this, I'm still going to rise. And I seen them rising to the occasion. And I guess that's the reason why I said they was like, whatever, that's all you got. And because they was coming out like, yo, bring it. I got this. Just like the young lady who knew that she was going to get locked up. But before she got locked up, she let that old white woman know, call me a nigga again. I bet you never part your lips and say nigga again now. I keep telling people, the people today are Malcolm X and Martin Luther King's great grandkids. So if you thought you got rid of them people that stood up before, no, their great grandkids are standing now. Those are the children that you see that everybody's looking at, calling them Generation Y. And if you think about it,
me and my own.
And if you think about it, if they are called Generation Y, that makes sense, because a lot of things that they do, we'd be like, why? Why?
Yeah, me and my daughter got the opportunity to be part of a peaceful protest out here where we live in the Poconos. And it was the most prideful, bittersweet experience I've ever had in my life, because I've never even thought that I would have to be part of a protest. And my daughter did it with me. And the united front that we had, black and white, Spanish, whomever, but a lot of them were the young kids. And they behaved appropriately, and they did speeches and etc. And it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. And if we could do more of that, I believe that change is already happening. But these kids they're rising to the occasion, like you said. They are really, I would like to use the word manning up. They're fed up, and they haven't personally necessarily, been a slave. And I don't like when people say that, oh, well, you haven't been a slave. How can you feel the rage? Our ancestors went through it, and we still go through a form, to me, of slavery and the residual effects of the injustice in these systems. I've had experiences. Thank God I have never been brutalized by a police officer, but I have had some racist police officers treat me very, very bad. I have witnessed my father been treated bad. Ex of mine. I've seen a lot too, but a lot of people try to use the black on black crime to excuse what's going on. There's crime in every race, and it still does not excuse what's going on. We need to address, killing each other and hurting each other, but it does not give a green light for other people to kill us. But that's a whole nother situation. But the peaceful protest that I went to was absolutely phenomenal. I was so proud of our youth, proud of the adults, proud of everyone. And it's not a black and white thing. It's a fight against racial injustice and police brutality, whoever is impacted, whoever is affected by this. But it was wonderful. And we just need more of that. We need more of the positive, peaceful protests. And change is already happening. So we just got to hold on. We got to stand up, and we got to fight like never before. And we got to pray like never before. And we need to spread love and spread the word of God like never before. We have to be generals in God's army. We can't be afraid to speak his word. We can't be afraid to knock on doors and enlighten people. I think we need to do a lot more outreach. A lot more outreach.
It's funny that you mentioned doing a whole lot more outreach. We did a peaceful protest too, and Nadine, she said she was there.
Yes, she was. Yeah.
Been a part of Nadine. I'm telling you, that phone number is it's right here at the bottom.
Come on, Nadine.
I need you to either call in and talk to us, or you either call in and talk to us, or come on the show. 1 or 2. You know, 1 or 2. You gotta do something. I got the pleasure of being a part of a musical protest. And I brought my son with me. And I felt that he needed to be there because I wanted him to see what a real correct protest looked like. I wanted him to experience the fact of when he goes to discuss this later, he can say, I did this, or I was a part of this, or we did this to stand for justice. And when I did stand, my stand wasn't that I did say Black Lives Matter, but the main choice people I wanted them to understand was it wasn't more so that Black Lives Matter, but I matter. And it shouldn't matter what my skin color is. I matter because I'm a person. And these were people that you're treating like animals, and you're trying to repeat history because you're trying to put people on the edge. Like I was just looking at this inbox that one of my friends sent me, and that they were saying about they were able to hear that from a reliable source that on the 4th of July they were going to start going out and killing the Black folk. For the 4th of July. They was going to anybody that are in protesting or in crowds. So be careful of being a part of a crowd or anything, because they said for the 4th of July, that was going to be the bloodshed, that was going to be blood, and it was going to be ours. And then I got another email that was telling us about what happened in Wilmington, North Carolina in 1898. And it was talking about how they were scared and how they hid because people were doing exactly what they're doing now. And I was saying on our previous one that everything that they're speaking about happened back in the 1800s, and they're repeating it now. It's like they're trying to reverse everything that happened all the way back there to put it back to where they felt America was great. But the whole point of me bringing this together is people know how we react to different things. Because we're predictable. They know what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. And they know our scare tactics. They know where we're weak at. So if you know that people are going to come out and they're going to have shootings, and you're going to be doing a protest on the 4th of July, what's going to happen? People are not going to go. The protest is not going to take place. The point that I'm making is, like you said, we cannot allow the spirit of fear to stop us from doing what we need to do and what we know to do. And a lot of times they know the prediction of us being fearful. So go ahead, Kim. I see your face.
She did exactly what you said. She did this.
I tell you, I told you. I said when she started doing it, I'm like, okay, here she go.
I think I'm going to sit this one out because they might shut us down if I open my mouth.
No, they won't, because I got everything covered.
I know. I was feeling the same way, Kim.
We on the good.
Okay. I know what stance I'll come from.
Okay, but I gotta bring you up. I gotta bring you up to the front. I gotta bring you up to the front. Make your point. Make it plain. There you go. Boom.
As people of color, of African descent, for decades, we have lived our lives wearing a mask, walking around with the spirit of double consciousness, where we please people based on what we think is politically correct, socially correct, and what is acceptable, and denying our Blackness, our skin, our culture, our people. For years, people have been they've associated us with violence. They've associated us with being people who cause uproar and things of that nature. But all the while, there's been another group of people who have been training up and raising up their families and their people for a moment where civil unrest would happen and they will be able to carry out their agendas. When we see things like white militias going into capitals, lining streets, and the police not saying anything, when we see them overtaking Capitol buildings and it being okay, when we see Native American Indians on their land being pushed out by these same militia saying that they're defending their assets and things of that nature, it bothers me that if there's a thing with, James Baldwin said something along the effects of, the longer you keep and I'm paraphrasing, the longer you keep a people oppressed, you will get the product of that, and the product will be their rage. That's what we're seeing today. And what they don't realize is that we are not our great-great-grandfathers. We are not those people who were yes master, no master. We are not those people anymore. And what's happening is it's causing us to rally up and to get into position, because these things have been happening for the longest time. And for the longest time, we've been using scripture, and those people who have been at the forefront of the civil rights movement, some of them have been saying, protest peace. Even today, my sisters that I'm on the show with were like, we were peacefully protesting. We have a constitutional right to share our voice. But there are a group of people who were saying, we no longer want to hear your voice. We no longer want to see you. And they've been doing these things for decades. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And there has been a petition that has gone out to call these militias, to call out the KKK, to call out the Aryan Nation, to call out all of those organizations that spew nothing but violence and hate towards people of color and Jews. Mm-hmm. To call them what they are. They'll be quick to say, oh, Muslims are terrorists. No, we have homegrown terrorists that live here. And they walk the streets just like we do. Mm-hmm. 5 miles away from where I live, they're there. But nobody's doing anything about that. In South Philly, a week ago, they were out there in South Philly. But the moment a group of Black people, let's talk about the Black Panthers. Let's talk about them. Their initial purpose was communal, was for the community. But they became, what's the word I'm looking for?
Maybe inferior?
The government were afraid. They were afraid.
Yeah, they were inferior to them.
Because they were rallying up the people to understand who they were and to walk in the power of who they were. And that's where we are now. So yes, I love God. He is my Lord and Savior, and I love him. But there came a time when Jesus was like all the Hebrews, they were looking for Christ. They were looking for the Messiah. Like, where you at? Like, we're going to take them. We're going to take them down now. We're going to take back what's ours. And there was moments where he showed his anger. There was moments where he showed his rage. Now, he ain't go killing people because he raised people. Like, I ain't saying that. But what I am saying is we also have the right to bear arms. We also have the same rights that those people have, and treat us as such. And they need to know that we are not the same people back in the day because we were afraid. That fear is not there anymore. Because we are not the people who had to bow down. We are not those people. I'm sorry, y'all. This was a blessed conversation.
No. Don't be sorry.
I've seen so much. There's so much footage There's so much information that's out there, and these people just walk around with their privilege. That's the stuff that we're up in arms about because it's privilege. You have a black man go stand out on a corner of Broad and Chestnut Street with a double gauge shotgun. And he's saying, I'm protecting my people. What's going to happen to him?
He gets locked up, or maybe he gets shot
because he's not going to put his gun away because he's there protesting and exercising his amendment. I mean, his rights. But my thing is, we're in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is not an open carry state. And these people were out there in the streets with their rifles. Let that be a bunch of black men walking through North Philly doing the same thing, protecting their people and their property. What's going to happen to them?
We already know. Bloodshed.
So what I'm saying is there's something, and this stuff has been brewing for decades. This ain't new. It's just that people have been privy to now this knowledge because now they're showing their face. And now they got the balls now. Before they were wearing their hoods. They ain't wearing their hoods no more.
No, because they got 45.
They wearing suits. They wearing suits and they on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Yep, they not 45 and then told them and gave
that's why they got the balls they got now.
Yep.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Yep. No.
Velina, sis, we're just meeting.
No.
But Shauna knows. Shauna knows.
We're right here. We're right here. I feel exactly what you said. You said exactly what's on my heart. I've said it. I just haven't said it on this platform.
Anytime you have an African-American woman, me, who loves people, and I love God, but by God, this week I'm going to the range. I'm just, because there's certain things, it's like when you understand when you see what's happening, you should be able to exercise that same right. And I'm not saying taking out my house. Because Shauna, and me and you talked earlier, what these people are talking about is coming into your house to take over. You understand what I'm saying? They don't care where they go. And that's my thing. You come into my house, you come into my family, I have a right. We're not bothering you. We're not threatening your lives. We never have. We've always been peacefully protesting, even when you were killing us. We've always peacefully protested and bowed down. So these things, it's like they're putting it out there because it's their truth. And that's their preparation. And there's so much more we could talk about. There's so much more we could talk about because that stuff is so layered.
It is.
But as people of color, Black people, I am ecstatic that this is our season to be seen, to be heard, and those people are really acting in fear.
So you just stated why they are acting the way they're acting. You just clearly put it out there to the reason why we are a threat in protest.
I'm sorry, I'm looking all raggedy. Hold on, I'm sorry, let me fix this.
Because you so silly. When we sit there and we protest in peace and we come together, we show people what it looks like to work together. We show people that yes, we can be together. And when people see that, people want to join in and be a part of that because it's positive. And that's what they don't want. They want to keep us in fear. They want to keep their knee on our neck. They want us to react. They want us to be predictable. But the only situation now is we have learned and we are learning that we are stronger together. And by us being stronger together, yes, we are a force of power. See, We forgot who we were. But some of us really didn't forget that who we were. We were just scared to stand up for who we were because we felt as though we had to stand up with somebody else. That us standing up as one was not enough. But when one calls for another, and then another comes, and then another comes, I look at the school district. When the suburban kids have an issue, they rally up together. They all come together. We don't come together like we should to rally up, but we are now because we're having conversations. But you know who's telling us how to rev up? Them youth. Because the youth is saying to us, we need to do something. And they are asking questions. Why are we not doing something? Why are we bowing down? Why are we accepting this? And we're showing them how to accept it. And that was one of the reasons why I took my son with me to the protest. Because I wanted him to understand that not only will you know, but now you can stand and you can tell what you know and what you experience and how you need to be an influence to someone else to have them to do the same. That's why I had liked the protest that I went to. Because when I seen us come together, and when I say us, let me be specific. It wasn't just Black people.
That's what I said. Yeah, it was a mix. It was a mix.
Us. And they're standing and they're saying, it is us. You have categorized us to be different. You have categorized us to told us how we are supposed to act and sit. Now we're showing you, no, this is how it's going to be. It's a fair treatment for all of us. And that's what I've seen. And that's what I've experienced. And that's what I'm experiencing now. That they're now saying, this is not how we're going to act. This is not what we're going to do. This is what we're going. This how it is going to be. We're going to be together as one, and we're not going to stop until some changes are made. And my golly, some changes are being made, and I want the major change in November to happen. I need us to understand, even if you think your vote don't count, I want
do it anyway. Do it anyway.
I want you to still vote. It is very important. As I quote Danielle Patterson, attorney Danielle Patterson, you need to vote like your life count on it, because it really does.
But I tell you, a lot of people think it's all about voting for the president, but it's also for the counterparts that are part of, making the laws, and the different people that are in the judicial, legislative, the making of the laws. So we gotta vote the right people in for those particular, processes as well, because, as you know, we have the judicial, legislative, and the executive branch. They all work together. So we got to get the right people in those positions as well.
That's right.
It's not just about the president. People have a communication about that. They need to be informed. It starts locally. It really starts locally, because these are the people that are writing these laws,
I think the next step, so it's been nothing but protests. We've participated in them in all our different facets. But now it's strategizing.
Absolutely, an organization.
And so just like you said, like local laws, our council, our state reps, all those people, you have to know who those people are, what they stand for, what legislation they've pushed for in the past and in the present. Before you go in to vote for people, don't just pull all blue just because. You want to make sure that these people really understand your cause, or you understand where they are before you do that. And so I'm calling out our local stations, national stations. A lot of people don't watch CNN and MSNBC and all that stuff. But for some of our young people, because we're talking about our young people, they just seem to be in a hot seat today. But BET needs to get involved in sharing information.
They should.
Besides just we're protesting. Let's start, because even with Biden and him reaching out for an African American VP, why? And let's look at these women. Let's look at them. See who would be well, he's going to be the person to choose, but still know who they are. So you're not walking into things blindly, and pay attention. And I'm going to take it even back further to the school system, the education, the board of education. Start teaching our babies what these kids learn in the suburbs, because they have civil classes and they're learning about, your constitutional rights and this, that, and the other. Like, they're getting all of that stuff, but it's withheld from our community. So all of our community activists, all of those people that are out there, our council people, all those people who have been on the front lines, help out with that. Because that's where the change is going to happen. We can protest, we can rally, we can do all of those things. But if we don't get the right people in the right place,
it's futile. It's futile.
And then what could possibly happen is all the things that they're now starting to change to pacify us.
Say it.
And flip right back to the way that it was. So be careful.
Yeah, just throw us a bone, and shut us up.
Yep.
Not good.
Yep. And all these companies that are saying, hey, we support you. Every time I go into a website, hey, we support you. Really? Show us. And it's not just financially. It's not just your money. Put your mouth where your money is. Put your action where your money is.
That's right. That's right.
You understand? So it's like, oh, this one just started sponsoring. This one said they'll give $100,000 to a cause. You're giving money to a cause just to say that you did something. It don't mean you believe in the cause.
Yeah.
So it's a lot.
Honestly, like you said, we have to be more informed. A lot of times we don't even know when our rights are being violated. I'm kind of ashamed, but I'm not, because it's never too late. But I just read the Constitution over the last few days, and I don't know many people that have done that. So I think we should even try to give our kids an assignment and maybe quiz them on some Constitution, on some content of the Constitution. I just did it. I never done it before, but I have so many people coming at me, and because, I'm a radio host and things like that, and they're saying, do you know we have this right? Do you know we have that right? And I wear my mask and I play it off. But when I got off the phone, I'm like, let me look into this, because there's a lot of things that I didn't know. There's a lot of things I didn't know. So sometimes we're getting violated left and right. We don't even know. And they laugh at us because they're like, she don't even know. She doesn't even know. And the word says, my people perish for a lack of knowledge.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's a common factor, because the first thing they always say to you is, the running joke is, if you want to do something or you don't want them to know something, put it in a book.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's the running joke.
Even down to this mask situation, like I said, a lot of people have their opinions. I'm not going to go into that, but I wear it because it's mandatory. But there is a lady that she feels that it is a symbol of, I don't want to say slavery, but control. And she expounded on that. She said masks have always been a symbol of control and of like almost like a dictatorship type thing. I can't really say it word for word, but I know I looked it up. But what she was saying to me, because I had said to her, I went into the store and I did forget my mask on mistake. It was in my car, but I was already in the store. And, she said, you can't come in here. But the thing of the matter is, the masks are what I would say suggested, but there is no law. There hasn't been a law put into place yet that you have to wear it, or like you'll go to jail or you'll be fined or what have you. It's suggested. So the lady that was in there, and she happened to be white, not that it matters, but I just want to make my point. She went in there and she didn't wear her mask, and she stated to them a certain law, or rather something out of the Constitution. She stressed her constitutional rights. And the verbiage that she used, I was sitting there saying to myself, my God, I didn't know that. So she told me, you got to know your rights. So I ended up I don't like to use the word fear, but I'll say out of compliance, I went back to my car and got my mask. Also, I didn't want to ruffle feathers. I didn't want to be fighting and arguing, because I said to her, and I had to be frank with her, I said, see, you can put up a fight and you can recite the Constitution and they'll let you have your way, or maybe they'll escort you in a nice way and just tell you to leave. But if I start doing what you're doing, it may not end as well for me. So I said, in this instant, if you want to say, I'm gonna take the coward's way out and go get my mask, because I just didn't want to initiate something that could put me in danger over something like that. I didn't feel it was worth me going through it. But again, like you said, Ontaria, so eloquently, is that out of fear, a lot of times we bow down. And that was not a prideful moment for me, because I'm a person that's very vocal. I speak out. I mean, I've been doing that since I was a kid. That's why I got spanked, because I was always defending and justifying and always been that way. And my mother started to understand that I wasn't being disrespectful. It's just my nature. I'm a fighter by nature. I'm an unstoppable warrior through Jesus Christ. I've always been this way. But in that moment, I bowed down. I actually bowed down and went and got my mask. And I'm saying to myself on the way to the car, what am I doing? Because I'm letting them know it's okay. And this woman went right on ahead into the store and she grocery shopped without her mask.
So what I'm going to say to you, sister, is that yes, we do have constitutional rights, but in this season, we also have a social obligation.
Yeah.
And if your heart is for the people and protecting people from sickness and possibility, while our scientists and our doctors are trying to figure this thing out, then you did what your heart compelled you to do.
Yeah.
Because none of us really know. So yes, we do have a constitutional right, but at the same time, and I'm a person who I know 5 people who personally that I know who contracted COVID-19, who were hospitalized. I have a friend who almost lost her brother. Shauna and I had another guest that was on here a few weeks ago, and her mother almost died from it. I work hand in hand, or have worked with medical professionals, doctors, nurses, respiratory therapists who are in the trenches fighting every day. So for me, I feel obligated, because I'm like, they go into this every day and they still have to go home to their families. And this thing is real. You understand? So it was like, yes, we all have our constitutional, some of us have constitutional rights. So that's another level. That's another level. But
another one.
As far as having a social obligation to your fellow neighbor, that's Bible, that's scripture, and that's what we stand on. So all of us who are walking around being compliant, we're thinking about safety. We're thinking about saving lives. Period. So that ain't bowing down. It's just, and what they try to get in your mind is that, oh, you're allowing the government to control you. No, we're not. People died. People have gotten sick. I have 2 cousins. One was tested and she was positive with no symptoms.
A lot of people matter.
Right? I got another cousin who lost her sense of smell, sense of taste. That's my family. This thing is real.
That's true.
So yeah.
I can understand the mask part to the fact of when you think about the dog, you muzzle the dog so the dog can't attack. And this whole thing really cracks me up, because it was supposedly not our disease. Then all of a sudden it became our disease. Then all of a sudden it became everybody has it.
Then it became African Americans are the highest rate. Then it became, oh, let's go to Africa and test the vaccine on Africans because they don't have the best quality health care. And then in America, push, African Americans, the highest risk. This came from Europe. This came from France. French doctors saying go to Africa because these people. Then the U.S. jumped on the bandwagon. They ain't saying that in Europe, in England, about the black people there. They're not doing that.
Let me tell you, you said it at the beginning. When you said, at the very beginning, you said, and I quote, you have a businessman in the office, right? Right. So if the businessman is in the office, the business law, and correct me if I'm right, because you should know, because we worked at a particular location together, who taught us this. It's called the lesser evil. Y'all heard of the lesser evil before, right? Yeah. So the lesser evil is who would be lesser to be affected that we can get away with actually doing this to. And it will justify what we're doing. I told y'all then, they started off with older people being taken off, stricken. That's Social Security. That's money back in to the U.S. Then they started working on low income and kids that didn't have insurance. That was a strike off. That's money. That's back in the system. Then they went to the middle classmen. Do you hear the lesser evil pyramid? But I always keep saying, is what they're not saying that you should really listen to. So they keep telling you how many Africans, but I haven't yet heard how many anybody else's count.
Exactly.
So why are they not counting anybody else?
They're counting them. They're just not releasing it because of their agenda, Shauna. I ain't know we was going here today. I ain't know we was going. Velina, I'm sorry, boo. I ain't know we was going here today.
So when it goes to the agenda, I'm going even deeper. You're probably gonna flip the video when I say this one.
Flip the photo.
So after you do all of that, and you have now, because we're predictable. So who's gonna be the first to run to get a vaccine? I'm scared now because all you telling me is numbers of people that look like me that got this stuff. So who's going to voluntarily run up and grab this and say that it just is a justifiable shot?
Hold up. It also said, Shauna, it was also said that they could not draw a conclusive study if they did not have African Americans as a part of the study.
So why does African American part of the study when you didn't have everybody else a part of the count? I think, you know what? I'm not related to Arsenio Hall, but my last name does say Hall, so I think I can go.
Oh, it's here.
I think I could do that. Can I? You know what? Look, I got to rewrite this. I'm
sorry. Wasn't this today was supposed to be about Velina? I'm sorry.
And you know what? It is about Velina because the next question I'm going to ask Velina is, as a radio show host, have you been able to talk about this? Even though I know your radio show is basically about the R&B and gospel things that's going on, and vibing with Velina. Have this even reached the platform of discussion?
Oh, absolutely. It becomes pretty intense. I mean, just the way Ontario expresses herself. I express myself more in those moments. But I mean, a lot of people are, I don't want to even use the word angry. They're passionate because a lot of times if you, I'm sure you both know, we always, and I say we, as Black people, get mistaken. Our passion gets misconstrued as anger. And I'm very passionate. And I've had multiple people, including, I mean, sometimes even my boyfriend will say, calm down, relax. And I said, I'm not angry, I'm passionate. I say, you don't he doesn't always recognize that about me because my voice gets higher and I just become more, worked up, but it's not a bad thing. It's just that I'm very, very passionate. So we are very, very passionate. And like you said, it's not just us. It's every race. Even at the peaceful protests, everybody was passionate.
Yes.
And it was received well. And those are for people who want to understand, who have compassion, but people who want to be ignorant and don't want change, they don't want to hear it. And they're going to try and, how can I say, put us out there like we're angry. The looting and the rioting, I don't want nothing to do with that. While I understand the outrage, I don't condone that. We can go about it differently, obviously. But just like Ontaria said, I understand where it's coming from because a lot of them were younger and they just simply don't know how to express themselves. So as us not being the younger generation, we have to teach them, and we got to teach them by being people of action. Just like the word of God comes from hearing and seeing the word. That's how you build your faith. This is the same way we got to go about building, organizing, like Ontaria said, strategizing. We have to show them. We have to show them. And it's okay to be passionate. It's okay to be who we are. I mean, I can remember me, because I went to a predominantly white school, a high school. At first, I was in a diverse situation, but then my mother got a bigger house and, the house on the hill. And so, I mean, I was one of probably 7 Black kids in the whole school. They used to say things about my hair and I don't even like to say this. I say my hair is maintained. I have nice hair. So I didn't have what they want to call nappy hair, what is nappy hair? Nappy hair to me is unmaintained hair. We don't wake up with crunchy hair. Crunchy hair just means your hair is dry and it's not maintained.
Right.
But they always had something to say. Like I had my braids. I used to get my braids, and they always had something to say. But what it was, just like the word you use, Ontaria, they're inferior to what they don't understand. They're in fear of what they can't grasp. They're also in fear of the things that they don't know how to do. We exceeded everything that we touch. Golf, basketball, football, whatever it may be, we exceeded everything. So it's a fear of knowing that we are powerful and we are more powerful together. They don't want us to unite. They don't want us to unite. They don't want to see that, because when we do that, it's going to be a powerful, insurmountable work, and they don't want to see it.
It's happening on so many different levels.
And I am not a racist. I don't hate anybody. I love everyone. And there are even people in my own race that I don't care for so much because of their character, because of the way they treat me, because of the way I've seen them treat people. So it has nothing. This is not a black against white. This is not what this is. We're against injustice, and we're fighting for equality. But people, again, ignorant people are afraid of change. They don't want to see change. Some of them like it the way it is. Unfortunately, there are people out there who like it the way it is. There are some black people out there who are so afraid they'd rather stay where they're at because they're afraid of change and what comes with change, the uncomfortability, the uncertainties, the fight behind it. I mean, and like you discussed earlier, change has to happen. But a lot of people, even back in slavery, I mean, with Harriet Tubman, she had to take out some people because she knew that these people would jeopardize her operation.
Yeah.
She knew that there were some people like say, yo, master gives us 3 meals a day. The whole family is able to be here. I'm not going nowhere. And we finna tell master that you got a plan, because they were so afraid of change, of, evolution. They were willing to rat out that person, which was Harriet Tubman. So she had to put together a plan. And if you know the story, she had to take some people out because she said, you cannot jeopardize what I got going on. But she was a person. Yes, and she was and everybody, in these different civil rights movements were different. Martin Luther King did it peacefully. He made change as well. Malcolm X did it a whole nother way, but he still was able to bring forth change. So the thing is, we all have our different ways of going about things, but we've got to do something. We've got to strategize. We got to organize, and we got to make this happen. I mean, again, change is always going to be, what it is. I mean, but we got to have the 3 C's: courage, change, capability. And we have all 3 of those. We're not a people that don't know how to survive. All we know how to do is survive. I mean, we survived diseases and what have you, and still was, creating this country. We the ones that built this country. And yet, we're not welcomed here. But this country was built on our backs, and look what, they're trying to take us out systematically. Depopulation by vaccinations. I mean, they're out there, like you said, in Africa. They just, they're finding legitimate ways to kill us. That's what it is. It's just legit ways to kill us. Instead of taking a bullet and just shooting each and every one of us, they're creating fear through the media, fear through the news, to have us thinking, oh my God, we got to get this vaccination. They wouldn't do it to their own children, but they're going in Africa where they are less fortunate. I hate to say this, but they're less educated. Yeah. And they're used to being oppressed out there, because they even get oppressed by their own people out there. So they're out there promising them an arm and a leg, promising them, oh, we're going to make things better for you. They've even gave them birth control without them knowing it. They've injected things into them that made a woman's womb unable to bear a child without knowing it, because they don't know. Not all of them are informed like we are, and honestly, even in the USA, birth control is a way that destroys a lot of our bodies, and we don't know it. I'm learning about this stuff over the last few years, but it's their way actually of depopulating our race. It is what it is, but it's pushed more in the inner cities and the lower income communities, birth control. I have nothing against it, because I was on it for 20 years.
Birth control, abortion.
Yeah, all of it. The government pays for that. And guess what? I mean, if you want to be politically correct about this, I mean, abortion is what it is, right? But it's legal. They're not going to throw us in jail for that. Why do you think that is? And I have a 19-year-old daughter, and we talk about all of this. And at first it was very uncomfortable for me, but I said, if I don't teach her, who's going to teach her?
Exactly.
They're definitely not teaching this in school.
Exactly.
They're not. And the only thing that she learned in Black history was a snippet of Martin Luther King, a little snippet of Harriet Tubman. She didn't get the real deal. I had to give that to her. And that to me is a shame, because they're putting in what they want to put in.
That's what I was saying about the Board of Education. At this point, with the statues being taken away, kids are like, why are they moving the statues? Who was this person? Why are they doing that? Well, what did he do? Why was he so bad? Teach the history. Teach the real history.
The real history.
More about who we were, what we did. Put more of us in those books.
No, and we're not.
And you don't get that. You don't get that till you go to college, and you got to make the choice.
I said that. I said the information that you really won't learn anything, and that's why the one place that they're put it is the one place they don't push people to go. They don't push you to go to college, because if you go to college, then that's where half all the information is, right there. When I learned everything about the lesser value and everything, I was in college. When I learned more about, and then the thing about the 1898 that happened in Wilmington, I just learned that. But the thing about that is that's nowhere to be found. That's not in the books. That information is not in the books. But before we go into I need to address what's being posted.
Yes.
And Miss Nadi, I'm Nadine. I'm not playing with her. I'm gonna give her that phone number again. Nadine, if you want to come on the show, honey.
Can I read it, please? Because this is right up my alley.
Go ahead.
Yeah, great.
It says, if you go to the Bible Museum in DC, you will learn that we were perceived as less than, and parts of the Bible were taken out before Black people had an opportunity to read. That's a whole nother conversation, baby.
Yeah.
And touching on some stuff that they didn't want us to know about ourselves. And it's more than just we're saved by grace.
Amen. She got more. She got more.
We don't teach Black history in school. Our books are outdated. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Let me tell you,
go ahead.
When I looked in my daughter's book, I mean, she's graduated now since she's 19, but I remember looking in her textbook and I was outraged. I said, this is what they teaching you? Because I went to school half my time in New York. In New York, we were taught that. We had all kind of programs in our school for Black History Month and etc. But I had to be frank. Out here in Pennsylvania, it's not the same.
No,
and those books, I mean, you literally get one page of Black history in those textbooks. That's what you get, one page. And I don't even think that one page is all about, because there's no way that you can put Harriet Tubman, Malcolm X. Matter of fact, Malcolm X wasn't even mentioned. Martin Luther King and Harriet Tubman, that was it.
Let me tell you how bad it was. Black history was so bad till when Black History Month came, and don't laugh too hard, y'all. Don't laugh too hard. Because I was color struck. I was also color struck, so that didn't help. When it came to Black history, they said we need to write something about a Black person. I said, I don't know no Black persons. I said, I don't know no Black persons. They said, so you mean to tell me you can't write about nobody that's Black? I was like, no, I don't know nobody who's Black. So they said, well, who's Martin Luther King? I said, Martin Luther King. He said, yeah, that man right there. I said, oh, you mean the brown man with the red lips? Because I always loved his lips.
You are mad.
And she said, the brown man with the lips. I said, yeah. I said, oh yeah, I know him. She said, he's a Black man. I said, no, he's not. He's brown.
Uh-oh.
See, that's another thing that we've allowed them to categorize us in the way that they felt comfortable with. So if you look at over this period of time that people of African descent have been here in America. When they first brought us, they were calling us Igbo because they couldn't pronounce what we really were. So when you look at historical books, you'll see Igbo and then the name and how much they cost. Then from there, it went to, I think it was Niger or Negro, like that whole context. Then from there, it was nigger because some of them couldn't pronounce it correctly. So then we became niggers. Then from there, we became Negro. So the whole civil rights movement was like the Negro civilization, the Negro people, the Negro. We've always accepted what they said about who we are. Never stole back the truth about who we were. So now we're going from being Negro to now we're being, was it Black or African American? I think it was Black. Fight the power, Black people. Black people. Black. Now let's be politically correct and call them African Americans. Well, you're still separating us.
Yep.
And you're acknowledging the fact that we are people of African descent. But we've always taken what they said. And if you really want to dig deep and dig really deep, going back to what Nadine said, let's go to the Bible. Let's go to the Word. And let's really talk about those books that were taken out. And when it talks about who we are. So that's a whole nother conversation, but they don't acknowledge those things. Huh?
Look at what she just posted now.
That is why we talk to our children at home. Train up a child in the way they should grow and what they should know. Once they get out of your house and is exposed to other things in college, their response and appreciation for the race is tainted. Yes, baby.
It gets better. It gets better. It gets better.
Also,
it gets better. Amen.
I have a picture of Martin Luther King on my desk. A student once asked me if he was my dad. That was about 10 years ago. So many students don't know our Black heroes and ancestors who've paved the way.
Don't
That's
know.
deep.
So
That's deep.
I had a lot of teachers, because I taught performing arts. I had a lot of teachers in their classrooms. Year round, they would have different people of color, African Americans, African people who created things, who were the founders of things. And that way, all year long, they were looking at those faces and looking at their potential, teaching them who they were. For Black History Month, the walls would be covered. And then the students would have to dress up like whoever they did their assignment on. They had to dress like them. They had to become them and tell their story.
That's wonderful.
So there's ways of doing it when you have them at your, I want to say disposal, but when they're with you and you're nurturing them, you have an obligation to teach. And even if it's for a half hour.
My mom used to have us do book reports during the summertime on different Black heroes. And that's how I learned more from that. So I believe, like Nadine said, it is our responsibility. We do send our kids to school for them to learn, but we can't depend on the system, obviously, because they're not going to do it. It starts at home. We got to do it at home.
We just got finished talking about strategy. Strategize.
And also changing the school system.
Reform.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because if you want to tear down some statues, you got to let them know why you tearing them down. You got to tell the whole story. You got to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. You know?
Yep.
That's where our educators, our legislators are going to have to be up there pounding away for us.
And we got to pound on them. We got to make sure they do it.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So I'm going to say this one more time because it's my last time. Velina, our phone number is right there on the screen. You can call in and put that PIN number in. You don't need no passcode. You can call us. We need to talk to you. We need to hear your voice. or better yet, since you're Velina, she's one of your friends on your network.
If
she is, you can give her the link that I sent you through Messenger and tell her to click in.
Absolutely. I'll see if she would like to do that.
Because this is definitely this, you always have a plan. You always have a process and you always have an agenda. You always have an outline with a goal of what you want to do. However, sometimes things change. And when things change, you have to go along with the program. And the program was maybe that what we had in mind to do needed to be expounded beyond what we were starting to do. So I'm very, 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 very happy that you are on here with us because you're giving us a different insight on how others is feeling about this, because you're in Pennsylvania, but where are you, Velina? You're out in the
Charlesburg. It's the Pocono area.
Right. So you're in the Pocono area. So in your area is a little different than how things are here in the city.
It really is.
So
I remember watching the rioting in Philadelphia, and I thought about you. I'm like, oh my God, that's where she's at. And over here, they're peaceful. They're being so peaceful over here. I mean, we've had 3 marches already. One was just this Saturday, and it was extremely phenomenal. I mean, it's great. I mean, the mayor was out there. We've had a lot of our elective members that are the House representatives in Harrisburg. I mean, everybody was out there. The pastors were out there. The preachers were. I mean, it was beautiful. But I'm seeing on your end, I'm glad that you said that they did actually have a peaceful protest, because what I saw on TV in Philly, it was scary.
Sometimes you got to laugh at the media, because the media is going to only show you but so much. It took us so long. That's fine. It took us so long to get them to come and even take a picture of a peaceful protest,
because they want to put it out there like Ontario said. They only want to put out there what they want people to see. They want to see the troublemakers, the criminals, the thugs. That's what they want to paint this picture that that's all we're about, and it's not true. It's not true. I've seen some pictures on Facebook that I thought were pretty cool. They had a host of black men in business suits, and they were protesting, and I loved it. And I said, see, that's who we are. Don't try to project, this other image of us, because there are criminals in every race, but that's not all that we're about.
Exactly.
Bye, Nadine. She said she's leaving. Bye, Nadine.
Yes, bye, Nadine.
Thank you for your input. You're awesome.
She said she's going to Bible study. My Bible study, I'm supposed to be at, but because it's live streamed and ours is recorded, I can go look at my Bible study later, and I won't get in trouble for it. So they know what I'm doing on Wednesday nights. I paid my tithe.
And I'm eating my chips. So this is our sister chat, and we sit back and relax, and
I'm trying to get you to understand. I got this hoagie right here, right? I want to tear into it so bad. But the conversation was a little more juicier than the hoagie was.
Is it a good turkey? Is it a turkey hoagie?
No, but you know what? Them turkey hoagies was good that I took from our show, right? So bring up the fact of the turkey hoagie. So me and Velina, I forget how we even actually met. But
actually, we met at the church.
We did, but did I think I posted on a platform that you were on.
Yes.
Responded.
But you know how also too, Marguerite Ruff.
Yes. Okay. That was your friend. So when I sent it to Marguerite,
I love her.
Yes.
Me too.
When I sent it to Marguerite sent it to you.
She did.
And another young lady. And we was talking about you coming from the Poconos. I was like, you're gonna be fine. I got you. I promise you. And you was like, well, I don't know. It's an experience. You're gonna want to do it. You're gonna want to do it. You was like, well, I think about it. I said, well, I'm gonna give you my number. You call me. We'll work it out. And you was like, okay. And then you showed up. But when you showed up, how she showed up was the powerful point, because so we was a part of the 2000 Voices for Peace, the peace rally that I did in November. And it was an awesome experience. Awesome experience.
Oh my God, yes.
We had like 5 buses that came from Philly, and then the 6th one came from Trevose. Was it Trevose? Trevose. And we all left and went up to Newark. But what was I handled a lot of the administrative information. So that meant I knew everybody that was coming in, but I knew them by name. They knew me, but I didn't know them. So when I gave Velina my personal number, because she said she wasn't getting on the bus, she was going to get there. I said, well, you give me your phone number, so I'll let you know where we are so we can make sure that we meet. Well, when we got there, Velina was like, I'm here. Where are you? I said, we're in the parking lot, but I see this line is extremely long. She said, I'm already at the door. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. She on my team. My team. I got the best team. I got the best team, because my best team already in places and put in places for something to go right. So it just goes to where I was just saying earlier about when you have an agenda and you have a goal and an outline what you're supposed to do, but then something else comes forward. Had she not been in that place for us, I don't know exactly how I would have been able to fight my way through that door and tell them, look, the 6 buses are here and we're not standing in all these lines.
It was crazy. Oh my goodness.
So then they had to give us the food and the food outline without no water. And then my people were looking at me like, Shauna, you got me in this? But I made sure I had some bags of food when we left. I was like, yo, here's bags. They were like, Shauna got food. Shauna but it was a beautiful day, because again, it showed you everyone came from every part, because we had the Tri-City area. Yes, because we had the Tri-City area that we was all in charge of. I was in charge of Tri-City Avenue, Tri-City area with our musician, and he took care of that area, and then we had people that came from Connecticut. Freddie. That's why I was sitting there thinking. Freddie handled the area for the Tri-City area. So I worked with Freddie. It was me, Freddie, and Steve. And the other 5 coaches that were from the buses, because each bus had a coach. And then we had the people that came from Connecticut. So it was like almost from Tri-City going upward to New York. And then you had the people that's from Newark. And then you had the people, then you had the dancers. And then you had the praise dancers. Then you had the musicians. And then you had people of all ethnicities, religional backgrounds, color. I mean, color is ethnicity, but they were all ages even. And it was just
Ooh.
Uh-oh, George.
Houston, we have a problem.
So sometimes when this happens, I'm like corporate hand, I'm like, but yeah, this has been awesome so far.
Oh, it has been wonderful.
It's been
wonderful.
a pleasure. So much information and energy and love. And
I love your energy, and believe me, I'm right there with you. It's just when I first get on a show and I don't know what to expect, I kind of simmer down. But I'm right with you. I mean, I feel the same way. I get the same way. I'm very passionate about this. Very passionate about this.
Once you're awakened to some things, and you know that's reality, it's like, okay, how do you play this game? Yeah. And for the most part, it's a game of like I don't know. It's like two kids playing in a sandbox, and then one kid is told something, and then the other one comes in like, "Hey, want to play?"
But like you said, I mean, at this point, we've done the protests and the marching, and that part was great. But what's next? And like, again, reiterating and piggybacking off of what you said, it's time to strategize and organize, and then it is time to execute. That's I mean, that's where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm. And be consistent, because a lot of times we feed off of things in the moment, and everything sounds good in the moment.
Yep.
But the consistency there,
and that's with anything. When you want to see something materialize or manifest in the physical, you got to be persistent. You got to be persistent in prayer. Is prayer, persistency, and I mean, pow. That's how we get things to happen. That's how we get things to happen. I mean, we can't just keep talking. We did enough talking now.
I think that's where everybody is. I really believe that's where everybody is.
This is so fun. Every time we talk about something positive or something good happens, what happens? We get cut off.
The devil's a liar.
So it didn't cut you off when you went on your little rant page, Kim. But when I want to talk about the good, peaceful thing that happened in Newark, New Jersey, where all the people came out, including the superstars, Hezekiah and Dionne Warwick, Yolanda Adams, they all came out, and all the different religions came praising the Lord for peace. Then the Japanese woman, she came up and she started talking about Negro this and Negro that. And all the Negroes that was in the house was getting offended because they didn't understand that in her language, Negro was beautiful. So all she could talk about was the Negroes in the building. Because every time you looked, I felt like old McDonald that had a farm, except it wasn't the chick here. It was a Negro here and a Negro there. And everywhere was a Negro.
You was a mess.
In order for me to tell what happened, I had to go church mode, so I getting cut off. You know what? You're real funny, y'all. Y'all real funny. And I know y'all listening. Whatever.
You are.
I should take a bite of my sandwich and then tease everybody that's watching. Decided that they want
that big black. Shauna, you know that won't be right because I'm hungry. I'm over here.
Yeah, I'm starving. I was gonna say I gotta peace out because I gotta eat. I'm starving, and you talk about a sandwich. Oh man.
Look at that.
That's the stuff.
Look at that. Ham and corned beef sandwich. Not a sandwich. Sandwich. But before we go, real quick, because I need to also make sure that I make mention, if y'all don't know, and if y'all haven't already, y'all have to go and download Velina's new song. And her song is Back to Us. And when
That's
you look
right.
at everything that's going on and everything that we have going on right now, I believe that it is back to us, because now that we're locked up and we're locked in our homes, we got to get back to us now. We got to take back our homes. We got to take back our love lives. You know, we got to handle all of our situations, and we got to get back to us. Do y'all agree?
Amen.
So on that note, we're going to talk about and listen to this beautiful song that is Once My Internet Decides that it wants to give it to me again, because you know everything got shut down, so everything didn't come back up properly.
Uh-oh.
But this one's going to come back properly, so we get ready to listen to Back to Us.
Yay! And I'm going to go on iTunes today.
All day together. Oh, baby, I wanna make it right. I wanna hold you tight. Can we get back to us?
So now you see why
I feel like I was in the listening session.
you love it. You loved it. I so love that song. It's cute because she's like,
Thank you.
ooh, come
If you go on YouTube, I actually have put out a video on that, so you can actually see the video to the song.
You had the video? We could have played the video. Why didn't you tell me you had the video?
I don't know. I told him I don't know. I don't even know why I didn't tell you that, but it's on YouTube.
We could have played the video.
I am so silly. I'm sorry. I didn't even think about it. I don't know why.
On our next show, maybe we can open up with the video.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. I don't know, Shauna. I don't know why, but you kind of know why. I'm just not all the way there right now.
Okay, I'll forgive you at this precise moment. I'll forgive you. I forgive you.
I don't even know why. That's crazy. I didn't think about it until just now. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I really enjoyed making that song.
Well, I really enjoy hearing it because I play it all the time.
Thank you so much. And I'm working on the rest of the album, but of course, with all of this stuff going on, I have not been in the studio in almost 4 months now. So
wow.
Yeah, how is that working out for you? Because I know
I miss it. I think in the next few weeks I'm gonna go ahead and just I guess I gotta wear my mask until I get in the booth, and then I can take it off.
Okay, so you know what? I know y'all. Look, y'all got to forgive me, and Ontario already knows. I'm that person, and the video is just too freaking cute.
Oh, you saw it.
It's just too cute. The beginning is like awesome. So we can still open up another time with it, but I still kind of want to do it now. Can we do it now?
Of course, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Y'all making me hungry.
All right, this is the last one, and then we going in.
Sorry.
I'm trying to make sure I got volume because it don't seem like it has volume.
Henny, could you heat up my macaroni and cheese? Starting to feel weird.
Why ain't it playing? Here's my volume.
Oh, I see it now.
Yeah, but it don't have no volume. Or does it? Look at it. Isn't it so cute?
I don't hear anything.
It should be coming up now.
Yeah, I don't hear anything.
You don't hear it?
No, I do.
All day together. Oh, baby, I wanna make it right. I wanna hold you tight. Can we get
So you know what's so cute about this is, I laugh at how we look at life and where we go and what we do. You were in the water. And I find myself when I'm going through things, I go to the water.
I love the beach. I love water. It's just, it gives you tranquility.
Yeah, it does. And it's like, it gives you that inner peace or when you need to release. Or Kim, we talked about this. Mm-hmm. We talked about this today. And here
water is refreshing. It's renewing.
In the water. Wow.
And Ontario means water.
That's beautiful. Wow. And you know what I thought about when I saw your name? Lake Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought automatically I did.
Scorpio is water person. So yeah.
Well, Cancer, which I'm a Cancer, is a water sign.
So look, there you go. It's official. That's why we so into the water. So throwing it out into the water. Thank you all so much for coming on and tuning in. And yes, thank you, Lynette. We appreciate you coming through as well. We usually are here at 5 o'clock, but as you see, we can go. So what it's like the subject can be starting off with one thing and then the Lord will lead us somewhere else because the church always comes in. And as you see, church was here in the room tonight as well. So we're here every Wednesday at 5:00 on the No BS Duo Show. So you can like our page, you can follow us there, or you can also follow us on YouTube. But if you like our page, you can see everything that we offer. Because we offer a show on Wednesday nights, we offer our shows on Saturday and Sunday nights, and we're soon to start offering a show on Tuesday nights and Friday nights, to be determined on the date and time. Well, the time rather. So again, we want to thank you so much, so much for coming on the show. Velina want to thank you all as well. There she go. She came back. Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's all right.
I was like, she hungry.
Yeah, like, you know what? You taking too long to say goodnight and goodbye. So how about I'm going to say goodbye and tell everybody else on the platform that I say goodbye. But no, like I said, we're here every Wednesday night, and if you like our page, you can find out all the other different schedules that we have that's going on. And usually we try to give you some type of notice to let you know who's coming through. But I had to make sure that we brought the fireworks in today, and I must say the fireworks were going off, and I want to
go off.
I want to thank you so much for the firecrackers that walked into the house today. Because we had some hot topics, and but they were topics that we needed to have the discussion with, and we need not be afraid of having discussions. And so here on the sister chat, that's what we do, whether it's with women or whether it was men, like last week. We we look forward to having this time with you, because this is one of the blessings of quarantine. We actually get a time to sit down and have a conversation and say, let's talk. And
technology.
Yes. And also, being that this is the sister chat, and because we're not saying that we perfect and we're professionals and we got it all together and we know all. No, we don't. We're just saying we're here to adjust our crowns, because it might be this little crooked. We just adjust our crowns and say it's okay to be okay, and if it's not okay, then okay. But still,
we have to own it. We gotta own it.
Just fix it, because every now and then life is going to make it tilt down to the side and maybe almost fall off. But that's okay, because you can come here and we could talk about it, and we can adjust our crown and have a nice day.
Absolutely.
On that note, who did it? Who did it? I think I'm gonna close it out with that one. Who did it? Who did it? I want to say, I know who did it. I want to say it was Roxanne Shante who said it. Did she say it's best to be about your day and have a nice day?
Let's go about your way and have a nice day.
Wasn't it her that said that?
That was her.
I believe it was Roxanne.
It was either her or Yvette Money, one of the two.
No, I think it was Roxanne, but I'm trying to remember what song it was. Let me see if I can find her real quick, and we're going to say goodnight on that note.
But I'm sure when you say YouTube and you say best go about your way and have a nice day, it's going to show up.
But the funny thing about it is, I think I already have it. Is that it? Is that it?
I don't know.
Nope. Is that it?
That's part with UTFO or something, man.
My name is Roxanne. Don't you know I just a cold rock a party and I do this show. I said I met these three guys and you know it's true. Let me tell you.
It might be. It might be.
Explain them all to you. I met this dude with the name of a hat. I didn't even walk away. I didn't give him no rap. But then he got real mad and he got a little tired. If he wasn't for me, you know he would be fired. He wears a Kango and that is cute. But he ain't got the money and he ain't got the loot. And every time that I see him, he's always a begging. And all the other girls that he's always trying to leg it. Every time that I see him, he says,
I don't think I want that. You know what I got to say? This is what I got to say to us. us as proud women of color, we need to stand up, hashtag enough, and understand that no matter what comes our way, you know what? We are definitely this right here.
Too legit to quit. Too legit to quit. Too legit to quit. Too legit to quit. Sweat running all over my chest. I don't quit, no, I just press harder than I ever did before. Going for the dream that I have in store in my mind. Cause I know that I'm making it. I gotta get mine, nobody's taking it away. No, cause Hammer don't play that. You try to get mine, boy, you better step back, freeze. Cause you don't want none. I hustle for my muscle and you look weak, son. Yeah, I'm going for all that I can get. Kicking at the top because I'm too legit to quit saying. Too legit to quit. Too legit. Too legit to quit. When I feel hot, close, don't you play me close. I dig back, I get you back, and I'll hit you with a dose of Old Town power and charge you by the hour. I'm shaking like a cricket, folks get devoured. I choose to abuse, misuse, and confuse competitors who think that they're making up all the rules. Fools in the game, lame and insane. It's a shame I gotta do it, but I remain the same. Unchanged, getting better, never known as a slayer. Kicking it in the back because I got myself together. So wrong with a guy who's physical and fit, knows the time, and too legit to quit saying. Too legit to quit. I've been here before, yo, I ain't no beginner. Well, I've been new, tried and true. Survival on the finish, yo, it brought me through my crew. We're ready to strike, train for the mission, so believe the hype and sweat it. Cause you're gonna regret it. The day that you distance, you wish you never met her, you remind me of a real short story. One hit, and then you start that morning, get ready. Cause this is it, your crew is through, and we too legit to fix it.
So, yes, we are definitely too legit to quit. So, with that being said, now that our crowns is a set and we are now released, and we have now breathed. She done it. What?
No. I'm waiting for the benediction.
I was going to say, Lord, was she ready to do the preacher on us? Where the preacher said, we got, give me 2 more minutes, and 2 more minutes turned into 2 more hours. Not here on the sister chat. Well, we say good night. We say good night. So with that being said, thank you again for another beautiful segment of Sister Chat, where we are now officially 2 months old.
Nice.
And we are now up to 3K in views.
Nice.
Please keep passing the love. Share the live. Share the love, because you never know. You might need it, but somebody you know may need it. And Velina, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Maybe you'll perform for us next time.
I will definitely do it. I have a microphone.
Hey!
Oh,
go.
About to go.
We already have every Tuesday night, starting in July, for July and August for our summer months. We're going to be having nights like this, I wish, at the park.
Wow, nice.
We can't go to the park and we can't go to the concerts. We're going to give you a live concert where it will just be nothing but that performer and that performances. So Velina says she's going to bless us. So we just got to set her up with a date. Yay!
Absolutely. I got you.
And then she come back on the sister act. Then she come back on the sister chat and talk about the experience. It just gets no better. And maybe we can get Miss Marguerite to come and do her impression of, the one and only tall, lovely voice. And she can do Miss Phyllis Hyman.
Oh my God, her birthday just passed yesterday, I believe.
Yes, and we loved Phyllis. I just wish that Phyllis knew how much she was loved.
I know. I love her too, and her story was just awful.
Yeah, it's like her whole album. The last album she wrote was actually her suicide letter. So, with that being said, people understand it's not about who loves you, it's about you loving you. And when you
Absolutely.
love you, that's the biggest love you can actually have, because no one else could ever hurt you, because you love you enough not to allow anyone to not love you more than you love yourself.
Absolutely.
So again, with that being said, we're going to say good night. We're going to tell you to please, oh please, oh please, continue your social distancing and adhere to all laws. God bless you all. Be with you. And on the sister chat, we gonna say goodbye.
Good night, everybody.
Say good night.
I'll see you later. I didn't say goodbye because goodbye is forever.
Oh,
so
I
was trained by my mom not to say goodbye.
Well, we're not going to say goodbye. How about that? We just going to say until next time. That works better.
That's better. That's better.
All right. So as we going to go ahead and close out, just do understand that you can make it. Okay. Just know it. Just know
make it.
You can make it. Just
you
know that you
can make it.
God bless you all. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
It sure was a pleasure. Again, thank you so much for coming on the show. All right, Sister X want to say goodbye to the sister chat. And remember, you can make it. And if nobody ever told you we loved you, we love you.
Write it,
Bye.
different for me.